Can you hear me well or should I
Yes.
Good. Okay, sometimes the problem is having fun in mathematics, especially when you talk with people, students that are not from like the math science area, so this is usually the reaction you have. So when you talk about math, people can say, math, this kind of price and so on. But this is not a random metaphor actually, because there have been a it's written the bottom down, so you cannot see what's in the paper. There is a study run by Zvia Markovits from Israel, and she and other people proposed the math students of elementary school to indicate like a metaphor. So how do you see mathematics? As a monster. So there was a wild beast. So that was the most frequent answer. And even, not only by students, but even some like prospective teachers of elementary school. So as you can see, the situation can be quite dramatic. But maybe we can try to domesticate this wild beast. And as here St. Francis is showing us, and maybe as Orpheus is showing us, we can add music, maybe, to make things better. And maybe also games and some other teaching strategies can help in this adventure. So this is the cover of the book, so here before. And maybe some of these wild animals could also help us in explaining, maybe even some like abstract things. And this is the penguin. And this is quite interesting for me because this is how the penguin looks when it is scared. So it closes into a ball, and this is good because no animal is able like to open this ball. But unfortunately, humans are making a very easy job of just taking the penguin and maybe in other places. Well, what you can see here, we can, for example, build this complex structure starting from a very simple image and applying a sequence of visual transformation. And we can translate each of one of these scales into a musical sequence. Of course, this translation is not something univocal, so you can have, of course, different ways. But the most intuitive ways are something like going up and going down. And we can also have a sequence of auditory, like sound transformation. And I've been using this simple image also for students, music students, who have never seen like this stuff of abstract mathematics, but they have the concept of sound transformation because they're composing music, and so sound transformation, visual transformation. So in this sense, for them, it was kind of intuitive, try to make this connection. And of course, we can get even more abstract because we can imagine to have different sound results. We can compare them and categorically, so we can have natural transformations. Just as a note, when I wrote the chapter from in the paper about pedagogy, I was thinking of all this method, but I did not apply it yet with students. So I'm talking today about the basic ideas that are in the chapter, and also the little experience developed with real students. And everybody survived. So this is the thing that nobody escapes, so yeah, that's good. I use this structure also for group improvisation. I don't think we have the time to hear that today, but this could also be used as a structure to improvise. So these are for performance, this is me on the piano, Chiesi, percussion, Jeffrey Sandok, and Joe the saxophones. And everybody only had this penguin structure, so everything was improvised. Also check the website. Okay, another concept I cited in this paper is about the cube harmonic. This is an idea that actually joins a tool because the Rubik's Cube was already kind of teaching tool, and here you have like the full version. But we can enjoy this concept also in music theory maybe. And also here I'm not going to detail, but maybe for a future work from the research side that would be interesting. So the musical reason behind is that we can consider sonets somehow, but also permutation. So like not only making path on sonets, but also exchanges, pairing things. The other side, there are of course an interest in mathematics itself. And another thing is that when you have a changeable device, usually, in my opinion, could be interesting for students, especially like if they are not science major and so on, because they have something that they can touch, they can hear, so it might be better. And while I come, I had this idea of pure harmonic when I was taking first undergrad classes about mathematical music theory, so that was just like the starting point of this way of thinking. And this is an example of how we could try starting building these things. These are not the notes that I actually used in the pure harmonic. I just said we can imagine a very simple section from sonets where we have thirds and fifths, and then we can imagine like to cut in here and glue together this section. Of course, we will have some relationship kept in some places. Of course, they won't be kept when we are like gluing together sections. But at least this is a way to like build up this three-dimensional structure starting from sonets. Of course, we have just three sides, three faces. Imagine to do the same stuff for the other three faces. Of course, once we scramble the cube, we lose some of the symmetries, but we can go back to the symmetries once either we solve the cube or either when we make involutions. In this sense, it would be maybe intuitive for people to understand these moves, all this transformation, also by making references to the sound. And the original ratio of the cube was the following one. So we had a note on each little square, a chord on each slice, and a sequence of chords on each face. So here, like a simple cadence, like perfect cadence. And sequence of chords, 6 phases, 6 different harmonic sequences. In principle, you could also have sequences from different music styles, so actually mix up the cube, and you get different chords, different harmonic words. And this idea was first published in the book Pullman for Hot Music, co-authored with Professor Mazzola and Yanka. Okay, this was a very first physical prototype I made. As you look, why did I choose this big cube? Because I was not able to make myself the sound module, so the smallest one, the cheapest one of this one. So I had this constraint for the size of the cube. Yes, and this is how it's sounding. Then it's scrambled. Okay, but actually we can also improve this very simple prototype by using something else, by changing the technology. So in principle, what's the thing? In principle, we have musical notes like attached to all these little squares and cubelets. So if we can keep track of the motion, we can keep track also of the changes on chords. And I've been collaborating for a second improve the prototype with a research group from Japan, from Research Institute of Electrical Communication, Kahab University. We already had some publication on this topic, included one presented at 9 conference on new musical interfaces. Another one that was just accepted for SIGGRAPH to be held in Los Angeles, California. This vote was more for like the technological side, but once technology will improve more and more, it will be possible to make or experiment also with students, not just thinking, but also see how they will react. An example of practical performance. She was one of the colors. Okay, next steps of work are about the development of mathematical application. Because actually, I think that it could be quite intuitive for people to make this connection between the moves. And for the Rubik's Cube, we already have a notation, because there are also research paper about speed solving techniques, where you have like this one to rotate to the right face, this one to rotate to the right face, like counter clockwise, and so on. For example, we can play all the notes on each face, or just one row to the other, so we can select a major note. And hopefully we can also export a MIDI sound. In this way we can have the connection between the music outputs and a sequence of transformation. In principle, students could also write down equations and hear what is going on. So if they make mistakes with things, or maybe they won't get the sound that they were expecting. Well, a couple of days ago, this is another topic. I had been talking a little bit about the idea of gestural similarity. This is another area, so while with the cube we were talking about more like music theory, combinatorics, this is more about music image with mathematics that can help connect them. And this will be discussed in detail in this paper, Introduction to Gestural Similarity in Music, published by Journal Mathematics and Music. In a nutshell, we can compare music and images as being generated by the same movements. So for example, at the touch it, gesture can either generate points or staccato notes, vice versa. A continuous movement can either generate a continuous line or a legato sequence. And I've been using mirroring making experiments with this one with students. I have here 3 experiments. One held in London in the UK, and the other 2 ones in Italy. So this is the University of Greenwich. I made an experiment in a 3-hour workshop in October. So it was quite packed. Students were not all musicians. So some were musicians, some other was not. But they were all experts in creative coding. They were creative coding students. And I proposed them a few images. So I asked them, just pick up a picture and try to select the main lines, try to understand on the criteria of gestural similarity I talked to you about, and try to imagine how this visual structure could be translated into musical structure, and explain why. So the most chosen image was the fish. So we had a collection of musical fish, where, for example, you can see here, they made actual graphical scores, like 2 melodies, going up, going down, switching, and so on. Some other one also considered like small path in between, or like here, points connected by this kind of continuous gesture, and so on. The thing is that, of course, the results were different, but they had in common the structure. And this was most interesting for me, because I was expecting that people were like making different things. But as you can see, if we perform all these things, we will have like similarities. And also here, the similarity between this variety of musical speech is what can be interesting from a more like scientific point of view. And of course, the images were seen as collection of events in time. Do you know this place? Okay, I'm not kind of surprised, because it's a theater that has been closed for 23 years. Because people were making a technical adjustment, and this technical adjustment took for a long time. Where a lot of like professional conductors and singers just don't know this theater because it just had been closed. This Teatro Massimo in my town, and just to introduce the second experiment I made. This time it was a course with 10 meetings from November to March. This time I had all students composers, so I asked them to compose. First of all, I taught them 5 lessons on introduction to mathematical music theory, and then I proposed them to creatively apply these ideas, and I gave them a shape. In particular, I gave them a mathematical shape, the clam bottle. This is a glass model. As you can imagine, I did not bring it here for travel safety reasons. And I just give the students like another model of the bottle. and told them, so try to make a scheme out of this image, understand how you can use musical parameters to represent these parameters. One of the students also considered the fourth dimension, so that was quite interesting. And asked people, write the music that you like, but trying to somehow imitate the structure. And this was one moment of the presentation. As you can see here in the sequence, I had the plastic bottle, my students here, and the results were quite interesting. So these are the graphs made by students. One of them used counterpoint, so like choosing paths to represent that moving along the bottle, and having multiple instruments also to represent multiple paths together within the structure. Some other one used quadraphony, and this is the structure considered. So here, idea is the listener, and the music is going around within the structure. Another one used a musical sequencer, where you just put the drawing of the one of the perspectives of the bottle and get music. Again, all pieces were different, and of course it was also interesting to find like the style of each of them. But the thing is common, so like this general skeleton, and it was was expected. This is one of examples. I won't go through the whole piece, but I just as you can see, the image is like building up little by little. Of course, the choice of the specific notes was up to the composer, because the composer was also like keeping the general gestalt of the image, but reshaping the details artistically. Performed a concert with real instruments. So this is a sequence from the same piece. So as you can see, this is like a dramatic effect also. This is another piece. Unfortunately, we cannot read very well here. This is another piece written by a composer, a very young student. That was his first piece for an orchestra ensemble. Okay, it was me conducting and we got this piece. This is another structure. This is the idea used by another composer to represent the bado, and he used this structure to write down the theme for the counterpoint style pictures. So the more it was getting up, and the more pitching like duration were shorter, and of course he also considered pitch changes. So you can easily recognize this thing. Short fragments of the pieces. This is another composition where the composer used the shepherd effect, also to represent like this feeling of infinite going up, infinite going down. This with like infinite raising motion. This other one with the quadraphony, so this one again, some of the studies he considered. This is a piece completely written for electronics, and so this is a little bit of how it was sounding. quite short because they are around 4 minutes, each of them. And we presented also together with a theoretical presentation. And each of the students also presented his specific artistic choices and why, what he considered from the shape, and which parameters he took from that. The last example is from another place. This is from Livorno. There I gave a 2-day masterclass with just 7 hours. So students were very patient, so for me for like 6 hours talking and then the improvisation. In this case, people were excellent instrument players, but not composers. So I asked them to investigate the shapes, so trees this time, and again, I told them, investigate the structure based on what I told you, and improvise music, but by explaining what you are doing. So everything should be also, even if you are making an artistic choice, but they had to explain what they were doing. And it was quite interesting because we had several ensembles. So you can see a cello, guitar, also wind instruments, percussion, and one was conducting. Also again, we had different recordings, but people were able to catch the essential information about these 3 forms. So these are the lines I chose, so you can see here, and these are the other ones. So for example, here people were considering something less or more static, and then this explosion, and here they made a clear difference between this almost horizontal structure and the bifurcation here. Again, there is no time to hear all details, but these are already on YouTube, so if you're interested, I can also share links. And I have here a very short fragment of a conduct improvisation. Here, I've been using a gesture that, of course, could not be something metrical like 4/4, but just to making analogies, all based from an approach like gesture theory, of course. And people were just freely improvising by following this gestural suggestion. Okay, so just to give an idea. So this can be interesting because, of course, for the students, it was not possible to go into a great detail of mathematical theory, musical gesture, but at least they took the essential ideas and they know that behind what they are doing every day in the musical practice can be a formalization. And about the future, so for future project, I hope to organize other courses for musicians using math, based on math, and maybe also vice versa, proposing music to pure mathematicians, and to see in which extent all this work can be useful, what should be made, should be changed, and so on. So overall, thank you for your attention.
Questions from you?
Just a comment. The game with the cube reminds me of Athanasius Kirch's Arcamus Arithmetica from 1650. So, this, he did it on purpose for the missions, that the missionaries could compose in any language polyphonic music. But it's a nice combinatorial game for the next holy year, maybe.
This is great. That was cited, Kierkegaard, I don't know how to pronounce well, was cited in Good Math about also combinatorics. This is a great example. And maybe, we consider a suggestion also while introducing these topics to students. Also, to tell them that, yes, we are making new things, but there is also a tradition behind it. So, thank you for the suggestion.
Questions?
I was wondering about your students, so that you are mainly, I don't know if you use that when you are conducting your activities, kind of image schemata in terms of materialism based on our cultural background, on music, time explore from left to right, beaches are organized vertically. Have you tried trying this kind of experiment with other cultures? You can have other kind of use technology and maybe other kinds of physical results.
Yeah. Well, this is a very interesting question. Actually, behind this thing, there's a lot of research because, for example, the association between pitch movement and verticality is something that has also been investigated a lot by cognitive scientists. It is almost universal, not all culture, but almost. So it's a good thing. But actually, for me, it's not always like the horizontal time, because, for example, in the case of trees, it was most vertical. But explicitly with students, I propose them to choose the direction of time. So in this way, I did not impose. For example, some of them also consider the horizontal thing. So, for example, seeing clusters here and more like melodic structure here. Other ones also consider this one. But the interesting thing also in this case is to consider what is kept by also considering these transformations. So, and maybe that would be also great to make this kind of experiments, for example, in Japan or like in other cultures, and to see also what is changing. So, thank you.
I have a comment. It's not related to this. It's about the logo. I want to say this is not Yogi the bear, right? The symbol of Madrid is a bear and art beauties. And taking that idea, that's the logo that Maria designed. I have heard that some of you thought that was Yogi the bear. It is not.